Hello everyone, welcome to uComputing Systems YouTube channel. My name is Eugene, and today we are going to have a look at how we can generate an IPv6 link local address from our MAC address. And we're also going to have a look at how we can configure Windows Firewall to allow ICMP version 6 traffic, how we can implement IPv6 using remote desktop connection, and finally, learn how we can configure remote assistance in Windows 8. Okay, so to generate a link local address from your MAC address on your Windows 8 PC or Windows 7 PC, what you need to do is to run this command, get MAC, at the run prompt in your Windows operating system, or you open command prompt, then you run get MAC. It's going to help you to see your MAC address. And the next thing that you need to do to generate your own IPv6 link local address is to split this MAC address into two halves and insert this hexadecimal in between. So when you insert this hexadecimal FF:FE in your media access control address, you're going to have something like this. And then the next thing that you need to do is to prefix it with FE:/ with the subnet mask /64. So when you prefix this address with your FE:/ that has been given here, you're going to have something like this, but you still have dashes in them. So what you need to do is to remove the dashes and then group them in 16 bits per octet. So when you remove the dashes and group them, this is how it's going to look. You have some leading zeros over here, but in IPv6 we don't normally write the leading zeros of our hexadecimal addresses, but for just this practical sake, I just placed it here. So we have 00FE:/000C. That is this one when you remove the dash. And then you have this one over here too, 29FF:. Then you start from here, FE:/A9. That is one group of hexadecimal. And then you add this one too, the last part, which is E678 without the dash. And then because of this double colon over here, we have to insert our repeating groups of zeros. This double colon over here means we have 3 groups of hexadecimal here, which is all the same, 000:000:000:000. So you can insert it back over here for it to look like this. And then you have your TCP/IP version 6 link local address. As you can see, we have 8 groups over here. This is group 1, this is group 2, this is group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, group 7, group 8 with our subnet mask. So we have a valid TCP/IP version 6 link local address. So this is how we come up with a link local address from your default media access control address on your network interface card. All right, the next thing we're going to have a look at is how we can implement this address that we just generated. So we're going to start our virtual machine and then configure this TCP/IP version 6 address there. Okay, so we're going to use 2 machines here, 2 virtual machines that are running on Windows 8 professional operating system. So I'm going to start this machine over here and set that IP that we generated. Okay, once we have our machine started, we're just going to go ahead and set this IPv6 address that we had. All right, so to set our IP address, what we need to do here is to just right click on the network icon we have in our notification area, select Open Network and Sharing Center, and then click on Change Adapter Settings. And then I'm going to right click on my network interface card over here and go to Properties. I'm going to just disable TCP/IP version 4 for today because we are using IPv6, and go to Properties. And then I'll select use the following IPv6 address. What I'm going to do here is to copy the link local address that we generated before and then paste it here. And I'll give it the subnet mask of 64. So I can check on validate settings over here to check this my address if it's valid before I exit. I'll click OK over here. Shows that my address is valid, and I'll click close over here. Click close. And then I need to set another IP for this machine over here too. So I'll just copy the same IP and go to my second machine. I'll right click, select Open Network and Sharing Center, and then select Change Adapter Settings. Okay. And right click on this network interface card over here. Go to Properties. Scroll down to IPv6. I will disable IPv version 4 and select IPv6 and go to Properties. I'll paste my address here and make some small changes. I'll change this one to 7 so that we wouldn't have IP conflict. Then I'll set my subnet mask. Click here and select OK to validate. Shows that my address is valid, and click close over here. And we have our IP address configured for the two machines. The next thing that I need to do is to verify whether we have connection between these two machines with the ping command. But by default, the Windows Firewall blocks our ping traffic, our ICMP traffic. So I'm going to configure our Windows Firewall to allow our ICMP version 6 traffic to flow through it, and then we'll come and test this connection with pinging. So what I'm going to do here is right click on network icon over here, select Open Network and Sharing Center, click on Windows Firewall, click on Advanced Settings, and I'm going to create an inbound rule and an outbound rule to allow ICMP version 6 to pass through this firewall. So I'll right click on inbound rules, select new rule. I'll switch my radio button to custom and select next. Select all programs and go next. Select the protocol type to be ICMP version 6 and go next here. I'll allow any IP to any IP. Go next. Allow the connection. Go next. Allow this rule to apply on all the network profiles. Go next. And I'll give it a name. Allow ICMP v6. Allow ICMP version 6 and select finish over here. And then I'll go and do the same thing for the outbound interface by right clicking on outbound rule and selecting new rule. I'll switch the radio button to custom rule. Go next. Leave it at all programs. Go next. Select the protocol type to be ICMP version 6. Go next. Leave this default over here. Go next. And switch this radio button to allow the connection. Go next. And then I'll leave this default. Go next. And I'll give it a name. Allow ICMP v6 and go finish here. And I'll go and do the same thing for my firewall on the other side on my virtual machine. Once these rules are created, we can test our connection between these two machines with our command prompt. So I'll just stand on Windows 8.2 here, and I'll open command prompt by pressing Window key plus R and typing CMD and pressing on the enter key. I'll change the font size here so that we can see well here. I'll click on font over here, change the font type, change the font size, and go OK. All right. So when you are pinging an IPv6 address, we use the same ping command but with a switch -6 to indicate that the address we are pinging is an IPv6 address. So first of all, I'll check my IP here so that I know the difference between this one and the one that I'm pinging. So I'll type ipconfig and I'll press on the enter key here, and it tells me this is E68. So that means the other side should be different. I'll check this one too. I'll change the font type here, and then I'll run ipconfig to check. Ipconfig tells me this is E677. So I'll just copy this address by right clicking and selecting MAC and highlighting and pressing the enter key to copy. Okay, I'll come and paste it here because that is the machine we are pinging. So I'll type ping space -6 space, then I'll right click and paste the address that we are pinging here. This is an IPv6 address. I'll link local address that we generated. So I'll press enter here, and it gives me reply from our destination machine, showing that the connection between these two machines is active. So I can go ahead. Okay, I'll close this window over here and close this one, and then change the background here so that we see the difference between these two machines, and then use this one here for this machine. Okay, so this is our Windows 8 2 PC. This is our Windows 8 1 PC. I'll bring the default desktop icons so that we can see the difference very well. Okay, this is Windows 8 2, and then let's check this one too. Let's bring the desktop icons. This is Windows 8 2, and this is Windows 8 1. Okay, so we are going to create a remote desktop connection from this Windows 8 2 machine to this Windows 8 1 machine. Okay, so to open remote desktop, you can click on Start and type remote, and it is going to give you your remote desktop connection software. Then you open, or you can just press the Windows key plus R and you type MCSE and go for OK, and it gives you the same remote desktop connection utility. Okay, so you're going to create a remote desktop connection from here to our destination machine, and we know the IPs already. So we're going to just paste the IP of the destination machine here. This is the IP of the destination machine, the TCP IP version 6 IP of the destination machine. So I can click OK over here, and it's going to try and establish a connection. This error over here tells us something, that remote desktop has been disabled on the destination machine. So we need to enable this. Okay, this is the meaning of this error message. So I'll click OK over here and go to the destination machine. Right click on computer, go to properties and select change settings over here, and then I'll click on remote and allow remote connections. This error also tells us that this system has been configured to go to sleep when it's in an idle state. So we need to change it, else when the machine goes to sleep mode or hibernation mode, we cannot perform a remote desktop connection to this machine. And you can do that by going to the power options in control panel. I wouldn't do that. I'll just go OK here, and I will uncheck this button, click on apply and click on OK, and I'll do the same thing. It's not a requirement if you are performing a remote desktop from your source machine. It's not a requirement, but if you want to do it back and forth, you have to make sure on your source machine to you enable remote desktop connection. So I'll go through the same process. Open my system properties, click on change settings, select remote over here, and then allow remote connections. The error message pops up again. I'll click OK, and I'll check this box over here, click on apply, OK, and close. And then we're going to try again. I'll click connect here, and then the connection has been established. It's asking me of the username of the destination machine, which is Windows 8i. So I'm going to type Windows 8i here, and then type the password of the destination machine, not this particular machine we are standing on. Password is P. Okay, that's my password. I'm not supposed to tell you. Okay, so you can use your own password. So you type whatever password that you gave to this machine here, and then you can check this box so that anytime you are performing a remote desktop connection, it doesn't ask you of credentials. You can leave it also and click OK over here. It tells us that there is a certificate that we need to install on this machine before the other system will see it as a trusted PC. So I'll select yes over here to agree, and our connection has been established. So as you can see, we have a remote desktop connection to this particular IPv6 client on the other side. And once you connect to a host machine over a network, it locks out that particular machine and then you take over. So this looks good. This is Windows 8i, and this is our Windows 8ii. So remote desktop over TCP/IP version 6 is successful. Okay, so the next thing we are going to have a look at is to perform a remote assistant connection to another machine. Remote assistance is usually used when you want to seek help from a friend to help fix a problem on our PC. Okay, so when you are performing a remote assistance connection, we have two people involved: the one who needs help and the one who is going to offer the help. The one who needs help with some PC problem is the one that we term as a novice, and then the one who is helping the novice, we term that person as an expert. Microsoft was using a novice and an expert around the Windows 2000, Windows XP, and Windows Server 2003 era. But in Windows 7, they changed the terminologies to a novice and a helper. Okay, so let's have a look at how we can perform this remote assistance. First of all, you need to make sure your network connection is active, and we've done that already. So we are just going to move to where we can invite someone to help us through remote assistance. You can use control panel. You can just double click the control panel icon you have on your desktop, and then when the control panel opens, you can click here, find and fix problems, or you can switch to large icons view, and then you can also use this option over here, troubleshooting. When you click on troubleshooting, it's going to send you to the place that you can get help from a friend. And then if you're also in category view, when you click on find and fix problems under system and security, it's going to send you to the same place that can help you to get a help from a friend. Okay, so to initiate the remote assistance process, what we need to do is to click on get help from a friend here, and then it gives us an option to invite someone to help us. So we're going to click on this option over here, and it tells us that the computer is not set up to send invitations. I'll click on cancel here, and then we go fix this problem. It's good to meet problems so that you have the experience of fixing it. Okay, so we're going to fix this problem. I need to go to my Windows file. I'll just right click on this network icon over here and go to open network and sharing center. I'll click on Windows Firewall, and then we are going to allow some apps and features through Windows Firewall by clicking on this option over here, and then you scroll down to remote assistance. Okay, as you can see, remote assistance has been allowed on our private profile, but it's not allowed on our public profile. And when you check the current network profile, it tells us we are in the public network profile, so that is why it's blocking our connection from going through. So I'll just click over here, I'll click on change settings, and then allow remote assistance through the public network profile, and go OK over here. And I need to do the same thing on the other end. So I'll right click, select open network and sharing center, click on Windows Firewall, and select allow an app or feature through Windows Firewall. Click on change settings, and I'll scroll down to remote assistance, and I'll allow. on the public profile, and go OK over here and click close. So when we come back to our Windows 8i machine, let's try again. We click and it gives us the option to create an invitation, and we have three options over here. We can use Easy Connect, we can use an email to invite someone to help us, and we can also create an invitation file and share it on the network for the person to access and connect to this machine. So you're going to use this option over here. I'll click on save this invitation as a file, and then I'll save it to my document as invitation1, and it saves the invitation and it gives us a PIN or a password that we can use to authenticate. So what I'm going to do here is to copy this password and then create a text file over here, new text file, label it password, and paste this password in it and save. Okay, so the novice is waiting for the expert to connect from his remote machine and give him or her an assistant. And what is going to happen here is that if the expert connects to this machine, unlike remote desktop, this particular novice wouldn't be locked out. So let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to zip these files over here. Okay, I'll copy and then paste it on my desktop, and I'll copy from my desktop and paste it on my expert's PC. Okay, so the invitation file is sent nicely, and now the next thing that we need to do is to open this invitation file and then authenticate using the password that we have been given. So I'll right click and select open, and it asks me of the password. I have my password here. I'll double click, highlight my password, and then I'll paste it here. Click OK, wait for a while. All right, on the other side, we are going to be giving a warning on the novice machine that the expert is about to connect to this machine. Do we want to allow him or her? You click yes here to allow, and the expert gets in. He or she sees whatever that is going on our machine over there, but the expert cannot click or do anything because you have not given control to the expert. So the expert can just look at our screen. If there's an error message, that he can just easily tell us what to do. He or she can do it. And then if you need to also talk with a novice from the expert's machine, you can use this chat over here. You click on chat, and then it gives us an option to interact with the person on the other end who needs help. So if, for instance, I type hello, you see that on the novice machine here, it tells us what? Hello. When we go to the novice machine, it gives us a message over here, hello. Okay, so the novice can also reply, hi, I need help, and the expert can go like, what's the problem? And then the novice can reply, maybe my internet is slow. So there can be an interaction between the novice and the expert before control is given to the expert to perform a particular troubleshooting task. So the expert can take control of the novice machine using this option over here. You can select request control, and then as you can see over here on the novice machine, a warning is given that the expert is requesting for control over this particular machine. And then if we want to allow, we can allow by checking this option over here and selecting yes. And then now when we go to the expert machine, the expert has control of this particular person's machine. Okay, so that is that for remote assistance. Thank you very much for joining me today. We'll meet again some other time in a different video. Bye bye.